manufacturing.
Okay. Do you work for Sharp? Is it Sharp?
Omron. Do you know?
I don't know.
Yes,
Do you know
yes, of course, Sharp is a more large company.
Yeah.
They have like electronic toothbrusher.
Okay. I know Omron. Yeah.
Yes,
They make like small
thank you very
electronic devices, like
Yeah.
a thermometer,
Yes, some metal or something that are
like medical devices.
Medical devices or
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know it.
yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry to bother you, but we have to start.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Round.
Sure.
This is our EU English club, and today's main guest is Michael Johnson.
Hello.
Michael from California. And usually, first we have self-introduction and some short topics, simple topics. But today, you can only stay here until 8 o'clock. We change the order. And first, we have self-introduction and presentation in Japan, in France, and America.
Okay.
So, let's
Okay. Let's begin. Thank you. Coming. My name is Michael. I have been living in Nara for about 3. I came here because I wanted to be an English teacher, and I have always been interested in studying foreign languages. When I was in university, and I decided to live in Paris for 1 year when I was a university student. During that time, I read French poetry and studied French language, and I met many travelers, and I met many people who lived in foreign countries teaching English. And so at that time I decided in the future I wanted to go to a foreign country and teach English. So when I came home to America, I started to think about learning Japanese. One of my professors at my university loved Japan and also spoke Japanese, and he encouraged me to continue studying Japanese. So after I graduated, I lived in San Francisco, and during that time I attended a small community college where I took my first Japanese classes. And at that time I met some people who studied Aikido, and I heard about this Japanese martial art called Aikido, and I always wanted to try, but I never had time. So as time went on, I continued my study of Japanese, and I also began to study about how to be an English teacher. Because you can be an English speaker, but it's different to be an English teacher. I think there's a certain skill that you have to practice. So I got a certificate in teaching English as a second language, and I studied Japanese so I could read hiragana and katakana and some kanji. And in 2007, I got a job interview with Eon Company, the conversation school. And at that time, they offered me a position in Nara. I had never heard about Nara, but I was happy because I thought it looks like a beautiful city, and it's near Kyoto and Osaka, so I decided to take the job. And I arrived in September 2007, and I taught English for Eon at the school here in Nara, near the Kintetsu station. And I worked there until February of this year. I had many interesting experiences at Eon, and I met many interesting and different people. Also, I taught children. One of my students was a child, and her mother is an Aikido teacher. Yeah, so I was very lucky to meet someone who taught Aikido, and she invited me to come to her dojo. And that's how I began to study Aikido in Japan. So I continued to practice Aikido, and last year in December I took my black belt test and I earned my Shodan rank. So I really enjoy it, and I hope to continue practicing in the future. In February of this year, I quit my job because my dream is to go to graduate school in the United States. I want to study international relations and international economics. So I applied to many graduate schools, and recently I heard that I got accepted to George Washington University in Washington, D.C. So I'm going to move back to America next month and begin my graduate study in July. I will do a 2-year master course program, and I will live in Washington, D.C. And after that, I hope to get a job either with an international business, or perhaps an NGO, or perhaps teaching at a university. In general, in the future, I want to have many options and opportunities to use language skills. As I said, I studied French, but it's been a long time, so I can't remember very much French. But in the future, I hope to practice again, and I hope that I don't forget Japanese. So I have to continue speaking it with people, and I hope when I arrive in Washington, D.C., I can also continue Aikido. And the reason I'm here tonight is I accidentally, randomly, met a woman named Junko, Kotera Junko. I was reading a book at the cafe, and she was sitting next to me. And I noticed she was reading a book in French, and she noticed I was reading a book in Japanese. And so we both looked at each other, and she said, "Excuse me, may I speak with you?" And we chatted for a while, and she invited me to come speak tonight.
Is the head having? She's Asian.
She's very friendly, and I'm very honored and pleased to have the chance to meet you all and speak here tonight. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'd like to answer and enjoy your company.
You mentioned a certificate of teaching English.
Right.
Yeah. Which organization gave you that kind of certificate?
I went to a school called the University of California at Irvine. I don't know, you probably know Irvine. It's Irvine in Orange County. It's a public school that has an extension program for people after you graduate. So I took classes part-time for about 9 months at the University of California in Irvine.
So you must be a very good teacher.
I hope so.
I studied English at Nova for 4 years, but most of Nova teachers were very bad because they didn't have any certificate to teach English. They can only speak English.
Sure. It's actually a serious problem, I think.
Check the certificate first.
Right. A lot of people come to Japan because they want to live in a foreign country, but they don't care about speaking English, and so they are not good English teachers. Fortunately, I got some training, and I learned some important lessons about how to teach, and it gave me some good ideas to use in the classroom.
What kind of training or study did you learn?
We
In university for English teacher?
In my certificate program, we studied both theory of linguistics and theory about how people learn second language, and also some practical advice for teaching. For example, some ideas and games for teaching grammar, or some techniques for teaching vocabulary and other idioms. Also, one of the more important things I learned was how to teach classes for a different level. Of course, some students are at the beginning or intermediate or advanced level, and a good teacher has to adjust for each level.
I think it's the good teacher's point. I think it's your way of saying is very slow. For example, as Japanese, I think it's the first conditions.
Sure.
It's very understandable. So for you, maybe you're teaching for the kids, the Japanese kids are very afraid.
Right.
It's a really nice teacher.
Thank you. I think it's important to have a certain spirit, I think. I want my students to understand. I want my conversation partner to enjoy.
And now you're speaking intentionally to speed down.
Oh, a little.
A little.
But I think because I don't know everyone here, and I'm trying to reach everyone. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. I think a lot of English teachers in Japan start to practice speaking like an English teacher. We call it sensei byo. Because if I go back to America, sometimes my friends say, "Why do you speak so slow? You're strange." But soon it changes, But in general, being an English teacher, it makes me think more carefully about my words. I think when I speak with a native speaker, I don't think very much. It's just speaking without thinking. And I think it's good to be very aware, very conscious of the words that you say, because the words that we say have some effect on people, and usually we don't think, we just speak without thinking, and I think it can cause some problems. So I feel it's a good lesson in life to be careful.
You make understood across the board.
Thank you. Well, I am very impressed with everyone's English skills. All of you would, if you came to Eon, you would be in a high class. I assure you.
I read your resume on the internet, and I noticed that you use the verb twice. And usually that we use take or get.
Oh, yeah.
But you use is that ordinary, normal, common usage of the verb?
That's a good question. Yes, I use the word earn when I'm talking about some kind of degree, certificate, or in the case of Aikido, my shodan. The word earned, it means more like effort and then reward.
I see.
So take or get, it means receiving something, but it doesn't have the same meaning of working hard. Right. So the nuance of earn includes the sense of working hard for some goal, and then when you receive it, you deserve to have that goal.
Oh, you made a very good explanation.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
You're a very good teacher.
Oh, thank you. Well, often people say earn money. You know, if you go to it, and it's because when you work, that's the kind of effort that you make, and the money is your reward. Right? But you can also use earn for certificates or other kinds of recognition. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Yeah.
Emiko. Ah, nice to meet you. Do you, are you interested in English? Oh, great.
I'm interested in English song.
Oh, really? Do you like...
She stayed 1 year in Birmingham in England.
Oh, in Birmingham, in England. Oh, interesting. How about you? Yumi? Oh, nice to meet you.
I'm very interested in English.
Oh, wonderful. Oh. And let's see, I didn't talk with you or you either. Hi.
My name is Eddie.
Eddie. Hi, nice to meet you.
I speak French, but
Ah.
I don't speak very well.
So she stayed 2 years in Lyon.
Ah, in Lyon. Oh, okay. Yes. If I can have the chance to go to France again, I want to go to Lyon. I heard it's a very beautiful city. Okay. I see. Wow. And I'm sorry, your name?
My name is Yuko.
Yuko. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm a graduate student in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yes, but now I have to be here in Japan because of my mother's situation.
Oh, I see. So what do you study in the U.S.?
Public health education.
Oh, okay. Wow. Where?
Oregon State.
Oh, really?
Portland State University.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Northeast is very beautiful and very green.
It's very, very good. Too much rain.
Too much rain. Yeah, that's true. So, Sachiko, she studied in Washington, D.C. No, not D.C. Sorry. That's me. But Seattle, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't go to Seattle. I didn't study in Seattle.
But,
I studied in Washington State, and New York State, and LA. Well, I went to many places.
and, so we met because we both worked for Eon. And I was introduced by her coworker. And so...
Why did you decide to learn French and literature?
Well, I think when I was about 20 years old, I was really interested in psychoanalysis and Jacques Lacan and French philosophy and Michel Foucault, and I really wanted to understand more about the French culture, culture and French history. Also, I think the French language sounds very different from English and very beautiful. French poetry has a very musical sound. I feel the same way about Japanese poetry. I think Japanese language has a very beautiful sound.
And you stay 1 year in Paris.
That's right. I stayed in Paris for 1 year, and I took classes at a university that was for foreign students. So I studied with other American students, but I also had the opportunity to study at the Sorbonne Nouvelle. So I took one course there with other French students, and It was really difficult. The French education style is very different from American style. The class was only one time per week, lecture for 2 hours, and the teacher gave us a list of books, and she said, "Here, choose some books and read them." And I didn't know which book should I read, and so I asked my professor, "Which book should I read?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know, that one." So I chose Madame Bovary, classic French literature, and I wrote my final report about that paper. And I think it was probably not very good, but my teacher had sympathy for me because I was a foreign student, so she gave me a good grade. So I was lucky.
And what is the difference in education in US and the French? What style?
Well, in French universities, I think the staff are very interested in their research and in their own project. So the students are expected to study more independently, and also professors don't explain very carefully. They just speak. And
but if they're asking the professor, they will answer very clearly or kindly.
Yes, they will. I think if you want to understand more clearly or kindly, you have to approach them. You know, you have to really be more kind of aggressive, if you like. They don't view so much. I think the students, do their own roles.
I think the Japanese university is very closely style in French, you said.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Especially for laboratory or master grade or doctor grade, professor will not say anything, but the students should be study. Professor just give some advice.
So are students expected to be motivated
Always.
to do their own work or to pursue their education?
Sometimes it's really difficult. Some students.
Sure. Sometimes I think it's difficult to talk to a professor because they have so much knowledge, and you feel a little afraid. So, as that for me, when I teach, I try to encourage my students to ask questions and to approach me, because I remember, especially in France, I felt very intimidated about my teachers, and I didn't feel confident in my French, so it was very difficult to ask questions. But in the long run, at the end of the day, it was good. I finally, I had some courage, and I did it, so I felt good after that.
So you are kind and courageous.
I try to, as much as possible.
I'm Chiyoko.
Oh, nice to meet you.
She's editor and
Oh, okay.
I just finished volunteer work at the counter, information counter of the tourist Nara, and some information for foreign visitors.
Oh, is it the the office on Sanjo Street and Yasuragi Street?
I'm a member of SGG Club, Nara SGG Club, Systematized Goodwill Guide, and we have 3 offices to join, and one of them is on the first of the Sanjo Street.
Oh, okay. Actually, my parents came to visit Nara last month, and they took a walk around Nara one day, and they went to that office and they were very pleased because some people could speak English with them. They don't speak Japanese, but they loved Nara.
Very helpful.
I hope so.
Thank you.
This question was made. This question has been made before all of this time.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay. And probably you know about my intention. And from America, the distance between Fukushima and Nara look very short.
Right.
Yeah, but actually we have long distance between Fukushima and Nara. So probably your family in America was worrying about you relating to look at the last time. Do you have any response or comment or call from them?
That's a good question. Actually, my parents, they had been to Japan once before, so they understood that it's pretty far, and they were not too worried because they knew that the Kansai area is very far from Tohoku area, and so they came to Japan knowing that it was going to be okay. But many of their friends and many other people in America were worried about them. So they said, "Don't go! Are you crazy?" And they said, "No, it's very far. Don't worry." And I think many people don't understand the distance, and they think all Japan is dangerous. On the other hand, it can be thought of this way too. I've met some people in Japan who think about America, and people say, America is dangerous, right? That's true, in some places, there are some dangerous places, but other places are very far away from the danger. So I think the ultimate lesson is you have to understand more about the country before you can make a judgment. But a lot of my friends were, worried about me, and so I tried to send them a picture of the map. I used Google Maps and said, 500 kilometers between the cities. So I hope it was successful.
So next month, your first job is to set Japan West. It's very
Yes.
very safe.
Exactly. I will be the ambassador for Japan.
I give you a certificate.
Thank you. Wonderful.
So you are mastering Aikido?
Well, I don't know if I can say master, but yes, I have a black belt, and I really enjoy doing Aikido. It's very unique because it's not about fighting, it's really more about training your spirit, and it was a good chance for me to practice my Japanese, and a good chance to meet many different kinds of people. So I'm going to miss my friends from Aikido, but I hope in the future, when I'm older, I'd like to have my own dojo in America, so in the future I'd like to be a sensei, but not yet.
So do you do meditation?
Not every day, but sometimes, yeah. And also, in Aikido, there's some breathing practice and other things that are similar to meditation.
Aikido dojo, where is Aikido dojo?
There are actually two. One dojo is in Nara City, and it's in Naramachi. It's called Renshinkan, and it's near Orkest, the supermarket Orkest, on Mochidono Street, near Yume Cube shopping center.
How many people is doing Aikido at one time?
Two.
Two?
Very small dojo. My teacher, two. Usually me, my friend, and my teacher.
Private lesson.
Yeah. But also there is a dojo in Osaka at near Tsurugaoka Station near Nagai Park. At that dojo, there's maybe 10 or 15 people in one lesson.
Have you ever been there?
Yes, I usually go there on Sunday, and I go to the Nara practice on Monday.
People doing Aikido is women's and men's, which is more men or women?
There are more men than women, but there are also, I'd say, about 30% women, 70% men, and also many different ages, from children to many older people as well. So it's interesting because each person has a kind of unique experience, and it's open for everyone.
I've done Aikido for 1 year
Oh, really?
at high school.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Don't fight with it.
Oh, cool. The kind of Aikido that I do is called Shinshin Toitsu, and it's the style of Aikido developed by the student of the main founder. So in Aikido there are several different branches, and this style is it's considered soft because it tries to practice ki and more like spirit than fighting technique. But
Aikido is basically its defense.
yes, that's right. Yeah. Well, I hope not. I think in big cities there are probably some dojos. I know on the West Coast it's relatively popular. San Francisco and Los Angeles have a lot of people who practice, but on the East Coast I'm not sure. So I'm going to try, and if possible I want to find one. Yeah. It's maybe a little different because American people are generally bigger and heavier, so maybe the technique will feel a little different. I'm not sure. So I'm looking forward to learning different styles, of Japan and in America. Interesting, and I think in America, people who do Aikido are usually very serious, because it's not American, it's something foreign, and you have to study a little Japanese, and so people who do it are very into it. They really like it. And then I've met many people in Japan who do Aikido, but they're just like, it's okay, like it's just one thing among many, so I think in America, you have some big fans of Aikido, so I hope to become one.
I'm thinking about Aikido, so this case might be very serious. Do you use any tools for fighting Aikido?
Yes, actually yes. We practice with the bokken, the wooden sword, and also jo, this wooden staff. And also we do some techniques to defend against the attack with a knife. And so to simulate the knife, we use a small wooden dagger, tanto.
And do you use any protection to protect the body?
No protector, but there's no contact. It's only blocking and defense. So there's no contact. And sometimes you can get an injury if you're not careful. One time I got hit in my head because I was not careful, but it was okay. That's why she's laughing.
Can you emit ki energy? Invisible ki energy?
Well, it's a difficult thing to say. I think yes. It's hard to explain what ki is, but I think because there's not a good translation in English, but I think when you concentrate on something and kind of put your feelings into it, it's like projecting ki energy. So yes, but compared to other masters, I need to practice a lot, you know. It's very subtle, you know.
Because my father used to do a little ki, aikido.
Ah, really?
And one time he got a big power. The master emitted big power. And the master didn't touch my father, but my father got hit on the wall.
Really?
So I was very surprised to hear that. So
Yeah, the people who are true masters can do some pretty unusual things, you know. It's hard to believe, actually, you know. It sounds like something from a science fiction story, you know. I can't do anything magical, but I've heard about people who can do pretty extraordinary things.
So Aikido is related to some kind of Buddhism.
Well, actually, the founder of Aikido was into Omotekyo. No, is it Omote? I can't remember. Some kind of Omotokyo, Shinto, and also Nakamura Tenpukai.
Temples.
So it's a kind of mix of Buddhist ideas and other Shinto ideas, as well as the history of
Yoga.
right, as well as that. So it's kind of a blend, a hybrid.
Very interesting.
I've heard it's actually popular in France. Aikido is is it popular? Yeah.
There's more people who do it actually.
And I would imagine in France it's the same, that people in France who do Aikido really love Aikido, you know, because it's special for them.
Very many women.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I see. Yeah.
Very healthy and good exercise.
I think it is, yeah. It's, you know, it's very good for, you know, not only the body, but the mind and emotions as well.
Are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm not a vegetarian. I was, when I was a teenager, I was a vegetarian for about 4 years or so. Yeah. But then, it's funny, I was a vegetarian when I was a teenager and when I went to university. But when I went to Paris, I decided to become a meat eater because there was such a delicious meat in France that I thought it would be too bad. It would be a shame to miss the opportunity to eat delicious meat.
Recently in Japan, there's so many men, it's like herbivorous. Do you feel that that number is increasing?
That men are
herbivorous.
The social
Different meaning.
They eat meat.
in the number increasing in
Do you feel Japanese man is becoming social?
I don't know. I can't really say for sure, you know. I think it sounds from what I hear that it's actually getting less now. That there was some time where many men were becoming a kind of passive, I guess is a good way to say it. But I think now maybe it's changing course. But I think I'm not the right person to ask. You should ask
The
someone.
first time I met you, in a few minutes, I feel that you are herbivorous.
Really?
Yes, at the very beginning.
Okay. I see.
But you eat meat.
Yes, I do.
Change the policy.
Yes. It was an experiment, yeah, but I changed. Well, I think, you know, in general, I try to eat a balance of different kinds of foods, and that's important, you know.
I like vegetables very much.
Yeah.
But I like meat too.
Sure.
So not so much, I eat not so much meat.
Right.
But
Yeah, I think it's important to have meat as well as vegetables and grains and fresh fruit.
yeah, so policy is the same.
Okay, nice to see you. Omnivorous. So.
What are you planning when you return to America?
Well, probably the first thing I will eat is some Mexican food. In California, it's very popular. And tacos, yeah, exactly. Spicy and a lot of the herb called pakuchi, right? It's very strong flavor. And also cilantro is the name in Spanish. And so I will eat some Mexican food and probably a big hamburger.
Tequila.
Yeah, with some tequila.
You already did.
That's true, yeah.
Do you like cooking?
Not really. a little bit, yeah. I like it okay, but you know what? I like cooking for another person. I live by myself most of the time, and so I don't usually cook for myself, you know, but it's more fun if you have another person to cook for.
What do you cook?
Usually simple things like just rice bowl with chicken or...
Rice bowl is not cooking.
That's true. Or some simple pasta or stir fry. One time I made a gratin with white sauce.
How about the Japanese food? Natto, umeboshi, things.
Well, I don't like natto, and I like umeboshi, but in general, I don't like neba type food. Sticky.
Is
Yeah.
you make it small.
I know. I want to like it. You know?
Some difference.
Yeah. So yamaimo and natto and okra, I don't
Okra.
like it. But it's good for health, so it's a shame, but
What about fish?
I like fish. Yeah, fish is great.
Raw fish.
Raw fish I love maguro and ika. Yeah, all kinds of raw fish. It's delicious.
So Californian roll is famous in
Very
California.
famous, yeah. Yeah, people are usually surprised that California roll is not Japanese, you know, and then Japanese people, when they come to America, they see, this is not sushi. No, I prefer Japanese style, I think, you know, and if you get the really fresh raw fish, it's very delicious. So.
I think American people can go anywhere in the world with the American language and English, and we can do it that.
Yeah.
But different from others because you learn Japanese and French. Yeah, but it's different from other Americans.
That's true. I think some people only want to speak English. And it's convenient for Americans because you don't have to speak English or you don't have to speak Japanese or French, but I think for me it's a better experience to learn the language, and I think it's also kind of respect. If you go to a country, you should learn their language, I think. So I think it's kind of rude to go to a country and expect them to speak your language. So also, if I learn another language, I can have like sympathy for people who come to America and learn English, you know. So I think it's just a good policy. So I'm trying to tell my friends.
I'm very glad to hear that.
What is difficult from Japanese for you?
One of the most difficult things for speaking Japanese is the difference in tone. Yeah, for example, like hashi, you know, hashi. Like I find it difficult to hear the difference, and also when I speak and if I make a mistake, I don't notice. I think, oh, what did I say? Also, of course, kanji is difficult to read, but I think kanji are very beautiful. So I enjoy studying them and I enjoy writing because I find it's like a kind of meditation to practice writing. Another difficult thing is the use of particles. I always confuse wa, ga, and ni, de. So that's difficult to master.
Even Japanese.
For me, it's very hard to use to choose article.
Really?
One.
Sure.
Nothing.
In English? Yeah, in using the correct word the or an or one, it's a little or, So I think I can understand the difficulty.
Yeah. So I understand.
Well, one of the most common mistakes is people say, I go to shopping. People say to plus verb ing, and usually, right, I go shopping or I go to Osaka or something. That's a very common mistake. Another one is people will say, when they say, for example, the correct is, when I get there, I will call you. When I arrive, I will call you. People in Japanese say, when I got there, I call you, right? Or because it's in Japanese, it's different, right? It's opposite. And so the use of the correct verb tense is difficult for some students. Also, I think in Japanese, when people are speaking, it's often okay to speak in present tense, but in English it's a little more strict about the use of past. If you begin your sentence with past, then you have to keep using past. So that's a difficult thing to master.
I understand your explanation because in Japanese, そこに着いたら電話します。
Right.
着いたら箱。
Right.
Yeah. So direct translation is I got there.
Yeah.
When I got there, I call you.
Right. Exactly. So I think, of course, that's the cause of some difficulties is the direct translation. I think unless you live in a country, it's difficult to have the natural kind of intuition, and you translate directly, and it can make some unusual sentences.
Maybe you understand the situation here. So because you are teacher, language. So Japanese pay much money.
Yeah.
To learn English classes.
Yeah.
But not they are in general not to a good speakers. So what is the problem? What is your advice to them?
Well, I think the fact that everyone comes to this meeting is a really good step. Because if you think about it, talking is free. You don't have to pay money to speak English. But I think a lot of people feel shy and they don't want to speak to a foreign person. And so it's more comfortable to go to a class. But it's not necessary. You can find many people in Japan, even foreign people, who are happy to speak. But I think you need to be a little brave. And also don't be afraid about making a mistake. Many people like to go to a class because they feel that their teacher will correct them and their teacher will help improve their English. It's true, your teacher will help you, but I think you have to be motivated to speak to begin with. And then if you have that kind of strong foundation, your English will actually improve faster. So I think my advice is to find other people to speak with, and don't be afraid.
Do you know where to meet foreign native speakers?
Well, I know that there are some kinds of like English cafes in Osaka. Nara is a little difficult because most people who come here are tourists, you know, and not.
I'm living in Osaka.
Do you? Okay. I can't tell you, any names of places, but I'm sure if you search on Google or some kind of internet site that you can return some names. Do you know of any? Like, no? Yeah. So, also often universities have a message board of groups of people who like to get together, and of course, if you take an English class for a short time, it's a good place to meet other people and to network, So, yeah, a good way to start is to begin asking people. I'm sorry, I can't tell you more specifically.
Some institutions have language exchange programs. You can be a Japanese teacher and they can be an English teacher. You can get together maybe once a month.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of English teachers in Japan who want to learn Japanese, and so they're looking for a Japanese teacher, and you can exchange English and Japanese. There is one website called Kansai Flea Market. Yeah, and Kansai Flea Market. Yeah, like Nomi no Ichi. Kansai Flea Market.
There's a leaflet.
Yes, there is.
In the counter, I joined.
Oh, really? Okay.
There is some magazines or leaflets. Kansai Flea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's another thing is to go to a tourist information center. Often they have, some contacts as well. There was also a magazine called Kansai Time Out. But I think it maybe is canceled now. Is it? Yeah. It's too bad. It was a really good magazine. So maybe, I'm not sure about Kansai area, but there might be something similar for Tokyo or for other regions as well. Yeah, it's too bad. Kansai Time Out was a good magazine. Yes.
Actually, I'm looking at between English and English.
Sure.
Is there any difference in meaning between two?
Yes, actually, flea, like F-L-E-A, flea, nomi, right, is a kind of insect.
Yeah.
Well, free market is not an English word. Only flea market. Free market. Well, okay. There is a word free market, but it has to do with economics. So in free market, it means that people can exchange goods with no government intervention. It's not a place, it's more like an idea, the free market. Yeah.
I see. Not only to Japanese people, the English conversation between all is very difficult.
Yeah.
So maybe in European people also.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. The sound is very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You recognize in every day you are every day life. You recognize.
Yeah, because I think when you're a child, you learn the different. It's a small difference in the sound, but when you're a child, you learn to distinguish. But yeah, you know, I think it's similar in Japanese. You know, the difference between so and so or sho is for me is very difficult. You know, like, but for Japanese, you can just hear automatically the long vowel or the short vowel. It's hard for me. It takes a lot of practice, I think. I don't know, in your experience, did you, find it difficult to distinguish L and R?
Actually, no.
Oh, yeah?
Well, my mom often listens to Beatles songs, the Beatles songs, and I was always there when mom was listening English songs, and I never paid attention to the songs, but I heard English songs when I was a kid, and I never found any difficulty.
Yeah, I think, the best time to learn language is when you're a child, of course, or at least for sound, right? Yeah, children don't understand meaning so much, but they can develop the intuition and the listening skills and native pronunciation.
Yeah, actually, the best period is when you're 0 to 2.
Too early.
Too late. But that's all they sound, right?
But I heard at 10 years old, the kids used to distinguish language. This is Japanese, this is English. So until 10 years old. This is one milestone.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But like she said, listening to music is another good way to develop your ear, as well as dictation practice, If you're having difficulty understanding or hearing the difference between L and R or S and TH, it's a good practice to listen and write what you hear. And then read what is being said, and then you can kind of focus more on okay, this part I don't understand, and then listen again, and it helps to kind of focus on your own difficulties. So I always recommend dictation practice for my students. Another thing too that is really interesting, but it's a little bit of trouble, is if you have a computer, or you can even use your cell phone, you should record yourself speaking and then listen. It's very instructive. Like, I often will use my computer and put on a microphone and read Japanese. Yeah, I do that, yeah. And listen to it, and you can hear your own mistakes much more easily. You become more aware of it, yeah. But it's a little troublesome, and I should do it more than I do.
I did that in high school, and I think it worked.
It works very well, doesn't it? It feels a little strange to talk to yourself, But it actually is really good practice. If, for example, you need to practice fluency or some other kind of smooth speaking, you can set yourself a goal. Say, okay, 30 seconds, I'm going to speak. No stopping. So you have a timer, and you record, and you start. And you just start talking and say, okay, today I went to this place, and today I ate lunch, and just talk about whatever comes to your mind. And then after 30 seconds, stop. With that kind of training, you can eventually really improve your speaking skills, especially if you do it regularly. Of course, the main point is to practice often, a little bit often.
Like a TOEFL test.
Right.
Speaking version.
Right, yeah, with the TOEFL test. Yeah. In fact, she's practicing for it now, so TOEFL test. Speaking part, yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Michael,
Yes?
I always make the same question before you. And this is very stereotypical question for you. When you are in the States, you have a certain preconception or stereotypical idea about Japan. When you come to Japan and now you are a lot of time has passed, very different between preconception and now you are
Sure. Well, I think a lot of preconceptions of Japanese people is that they're very serious. And I was delighted to learn that a lot of people have a great sense of humor, you know, and that they really enjoy being silly, you know. Also, I think that there's a preconception that Japanese people are kind of not friendly to foreigners, but I found it was quite the opposite, that I felt very welcome in a lot of places. I think it's a little difficult to become really involved in Japanese society. So at first it's easy to learn some words and to speak a little bit, but I think this is probably true in every language. To really feel comfortable and to really feel like it's your community, it takes a lot of time, you know. So I think I wasn't really surprised by that so much as just impressed by the time it takes.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
And I have to say very sorry. I have to say very sorry. Before you came, he said to me he had to leave here at 8 o'clock. So it's around 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But every people, all people want you to stay longer than new person.
Yes, yeah, you can talk about it.
Yeah? 5 minutes okay?
Sure, okay.
Sing a little special.
Oh, okay, sure, no problem. Hi, I'm Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
I'm Taro.
Taro, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Where are you from? Are you from Nara?
So I was born in Nagasaki.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
I went to Nagasaki in April. It was very nice. Many hills.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, it was nice.
But beautiful place. Living there was so easy.
Really?
Because there is very steep.
Sure. No, not convenient. I took the cable car and was riding in the cable car in Nagasaki. It was
What
very
is the specialty?
charming.
What is the specialty?
I'm a postdoctoral fellow in university.
Oh, okay. Postdoctor fellow. What do you study?
My study is physiology.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So, are you a doctor?
Yes, postdoc. I have a PhD degree.
Oh, okay. In physiology.
Yes.
Oh, I see. So, do you do research? Research?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And what do you want to do in the future?
Future? My study?
Yeah.
Now I'm investigating fish vision. How they see the underwater field.
Really? Fish vision?
Yes.
Really? What? Oh, yeah.
Ask him to bring
Yeah, I like maguro. Interesting. So, do you enjoy speaking English?
Yes.
Great. Do you travel to foreign countries?
Yes. I visited China, Malaysia, and Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not so long time.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, great.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for me?
Ah. How long are you stay here?
About 3.5 years
3.5 years.
in Nara. Yeah, I studied French when I was in university, and I studied in France. And then after, I decided to be an English teacher, so I came to Japan, and I have been living for about 3 years in Nara. And I'm going to go to graduate school in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
next month.
Washington D.C.
Yes.
Washington D.C. is not near Washington State.
No, very far. Yeah, it's kind of the opposite
Okay.
side. Yeah. Have you been to America?
Not yet.
Do you need your umbrella? I can't find it. Excuse me, just a moment. You don't need it? Oh, here it is. Here it is.